like that. Hello! How's it going? How's it going? How's everyone doing? Hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. It is a beautiful day. My goodness gracious. Just another day in this country where we're literally on the brink of authoritarianism and fascism, but it's fine, right? We're going to be breaking down more and more stuff regarding Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and why we're seeing these titans getting back together for Pride. Why we're seeing them decide, you know what, it's better for us to be frenemies than it is, or besties, or in a relationship, than mutual destruction. So we're going to be breaking all that down. Of course, it's another day, and the Epstein files have not been released. And look, whoever is in them, hold them accountable. As long as the evidence is sufficient and clear, then yeah, hold them accountable. But it's a big deal for the biggest ally of the president, the guy who bankrolled his campaign, to accuse and say that Trump is in the Epstein files. That's big. Anyway, and of course all the MAGA people cannot handle that because it would force them to contradict themselves, which they can't do ever, or admit they're wrong. They can't ever. So anyway, how's everyone doing? It's a beautiful day. It's very likely that these two are going to be getting back together for Pride. For those people who might not be gay, let me share a little thing about gay culture, specifically gay men. There's so many different gay men. This used to be a lot more prevalent a while ago. But gay men used to not want to be single during Pride Month, so they would get back together, even if it meant being with an ex that they broke up with previously, just so that they could say oh, I was together, I was in a relationship for Pride. Oh, I was together with someone. We're getting back together for Pride, and then we're gonna split off from there. That is a thing. It was a little bit more prevalent, 2018-esque, but yeah. So it looks like Donald Trump and Elon Musk are maybe getting back together, and this isn't quite surprising. But again, we're going to be continuing to discuss the fallout that was huge breaking news early yesterday morning. So the big news was that all of a sudden Elon Musk said that he regrets some of his posts about President Trump last week, saying they went too far. Now, of course, he didn't say which ones he did regret. So when they said some, it's some do elaborate. And of course, when I see the word some, I'm which ones are you talking about? Are you talking about the one where it's the Epstein files? Are you talking about the big beautiful bill one? Any of that. So, and saying that they went too far is not an admission saying that they are incorrect. So, anyway. Sorry, I don't mean to yawn on camera. How's everyone doing? Let's see who's jumping in here. Hello! Hello! Kentisa, Akicha, Ilisa, Seabar, hello! MF Hendo, Ellie, how's everyone doing? So today's going to be a little bit of a longer live, and I'm excited about that. And then I think I'm going to film a video. I'm going to work a little bit later today. Woo! So that's kind of nice. But I really wanted to be thorough. Today, I'm counting on you all to help me be thorough. I'm going to be really diving into a lot of different details. I prepare hundreds of graphics for these live streams, almost even 100 every single morning. And I want to make sure and go through every single tiny little detail, every single thing. So I need y'all's help in order to do that. So let's break down some of the continuing responses from Elon Musk deciding to capitulate to Donald Trump. As a quick little refresher, of course, you had Elon Musk saying that, you can't get rid of the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. Of course, you can see that he's on the flight logs. he has been seen with Jeffrey Epstein so many times. He also has said that he would release the files, but less so because there's a lot of phony stuff in there. He's like, you don't want it to affect people's lives. You don't want it to affect people's lives. There's a lot of phony stuff in there. He's in the Epstein files. But going further here, you can't exactly hide the fact that they are connected. Furthermore, of course, you had the infamous post. Hold on, where is it here? Where is it? Hold on, just a second. Boop, 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 boop. Where? Oh my gosh. Where is it? Hold on. Where is it? Hold on. Oh my god, I prepare so many graphics for my morning live show. It's actually kind of crazy. It's crazy how much I do. Where is it? In the meantime, everyone, enjoy yourselves in the chat here. Why am I not seeing it? Why am I not seeing it? Where did it go? Where did it go? Y'all, this is how my morning has been, low-key. This is how my morning has been. Why can't I find the original? I prepared so many graphics that sometimes I get so bogged down in them that it's like hard to even find the actual right one. There it is. Oh my god. Okay. So, the infamous post. He said, time to drop the really big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they've not been made public. Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out. Yeah. So now Elon Musk is kind of changing his tune, and he is, in fact, now saying that, he went a little too far. He went a little too far in his post about Trump. He's like, I regret some of my posts about President Donald Trump last week. They went too far. Saying that they went too far is not saying that he is sorry for them. It's also not saying that they are untrue. So, interesting asides, there were a lot of people who said very similar things about this on Twitter, or X, whatever it's called. And it's funny because there were some people who made some good memes. 48 hours ago, Trump is a pedo today, and I love him. Also, at one point, Elon Musk tweeted out that he loves Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man. So, and look, I'm absolute, I'm a gay guy. I'm an ally. If they want to get together for Pride Month, then go for it. Go for it. I'm all for it. Oh, thank you, Cantisa. I appreciate you. So let's get to some of these people's responses. So Harry Sisson writes, are you back to defending someone who you said is in the Epstein files? And that's the thing. It doesn't look good for Elon Musk in any fashion to then be ebbing and flowing and going back and forth. Now, I guess I can give credit to him for bringing this out to the open, but also now that you're capitulating and caving back again, it's like, okay, so now it was only politically expedient for you to bring up the fact that your bestie, who you bankrolled his campaign, is in the Epstein files. Maybe he only knew about that after donating all that money. But at the same time, Donald Trump is already, you didn't need to know that he was already in the Epstein files to know that he was an absolute, sexual abuser. That all being said, he's now deciding to capitulate to Trump, verifying and validifying his actions. It makes him look even worse. And that he trusts his kid with them too. Yeah. This Trump tracker says they may have went too far, but they were not untrue. Trump is a frequent flyer with Epstein and has not released the list because he knows that he is on them. So let me get to some. This is just starting. This is just the warming up stage. Art Candy says, "Did he give you your contracts back or something? You can't close the Epstein can of worms so easily." Now, I think it's very possible that Elon Musk actually decided to capitulate to Trump in this way because he was like, oh crap, I want something. I want something from Trump. I need to make sure. I need to make sure that, he doesn't terminate my government contracts. I need to make sure that he doesn't just reopen all the investigations into my companies that I squashed during my Doge interference. For those of you who might need a little bit of a refresher, part of why Elon Musk was so craven to be with Trump in the Trump administration is because there were hundreds, I don't know if there were, I have to be careful about my language there. I don't think there were hundreds, but there were several different investigations. I'm going to say probably about 16 at least, and open investigations or fees, filings, charges against his companies for things like unauthorized rocket launches or failing safety inspections. And that's why he wanted to become a part of Doge, because he wanted to try and squash those things, claiming that they were bloating up the government and making it inefficient. So part of the reason why he was so craven on going after fraud, waste, and abuse was his definition of fraud, waste, and abuse was the federal government holding him accountable. I could dig up the picture, but you get what I mean. So now that Elon Musk basically just played whatever the Trump card, metaphorically, trying to force Trump's hand about this, like, Trump could be like, yeah, I'm not going to renew your contracts, Elon. So Elon's like, oh crap, I need you. I've alienated all the liberals. I've alienated all the lefties. I got to get back the MAGA people. Me insulting the MAGA guy is not going to work. So it's very likely that Elon Musk isn't actually capitulating to Trump other than trying to save his own ass. So, anyway, just wanted to put that out there as some context. But let me get to some other people's responses here, because they're kind of telling around where the population is, at least in regards to this. So did you lie when you said Trump was in the Epstein files, or do you just regret saying it out loud and now getting threatened? Because Elon Musk faced a lot of backlash from even MAGA people. So if Trump was on the Epstein files, your party would have made sure that they were released a few years ago, and especially during election season. And so this was a common thing. A lot of these MAGA people are like, well, why didn't Biden release them? Or why didn't Democrats release them? Well, there were a lot of things that Democrats, for better or worse, they could have released the files. 100%. They might not want to because it also implicates some of their people. They might not want to do that. That all being said, every single time that Democrats did provide evidence of Donald Trump's corruption and wrongdoing, what was the initial gut reaction of the right wing? Fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, liberal mainstream media crap, MSDNC, always in the bed with the establishment, the kind of crap. So, even if they were to, it was just going to be another thing where they decried fake news. Because that's exactly how the right reacts to any sort of criticism or critique of anything. So even if they did, it would have fallen on deaf ears when it came to that crowd hearing that information. Now you could say, oh well, they may have done that, sure, but they should have still done it. You're not going to get an argument from me on that. But still, I'm just pointing it out. Yeah, Kantisa, I was about to read that next. Elon lied then? If so, it calls the whole Doge project into question. What else is he lying about? Exactly. So if this is the character of Elon Musk to lie like this, what other things could be possibly be lying about? And I'll give you one example. Elon Musk has been caught in the controversy of literally hiring people to play video games for him, to then and like gamers to do super, super well on his accounts just so that he can say that he's a fantastic gamer. And that could be a whole story I dive into. I'm not too big of like a gamer myself, so I wouldn't know all the technicalities around that. But for those people who want to know that information, I encourage you go and check out the Humanist Report on YouTube. Is a guy named Mike Figueredo. He is a gay guy. He's also a gamer. And he did this big deep dive into how Elon Musk literally hired someone to then play games for him and then pretended like he knew how to play the game and that he was like ranked #1 in the world. And it was like, it was so humiliating because it was just so obviously incorrect. Anyway, that all being said, when it comes to this, circling back, yeah, sure. Democrats could have released them, and if you want to give them a critique, sure. 100%. They might also implicate some of their own people, sure. But the reason why Republicans don't want to release it either, or especially Donald Trump, is because it implicates them too. It implicates them too. It's not something that either party, I guess, want. But let me be clear about it. We know Donald Trump is in there. I think Bill Clinton is in there. Who knows? Other people could be in there. So just the same way that Elon Musk and Donald Trump fighting led to some sort of mutual destruction, like within some limitations recently, if you have Democrats and Republicans doing that, it might lead to some mutual annihilation in that sense as well, which wouldn't be good for either one. I'm not defending it. I'm just bringing out the context. So that's why they weren't released like that. And of course, all these people are like, well, what about Bill Clinton? Great. If there's evidence, lock him up too. Like, you're not going to get an argument from me. That's also the thing. There's so many right-wingers who think that all of a sudden Democrats are going to be against the release of this list because it has someone like Bill Clinton possibly on it. No. Like, we're just going to be like, okay, cool. He was a past president. Hold him accountable. There's evidence to show that he did wrongdoing. Great. Like, here's the thing. You could have other beloved political figures on that list, and you might have some Democrats, very few, but some Democrats that are like, no, don't do that. But it's like, well, principles are principles. Our Constitution says that no one is above the law. Theoretically, that's supposed to apply to everyone, including past presidents. No one is above the law. Except MAGA cult people think that Trump is above the law. So, yeah, anyway. So, not sure if they were trying to protect people as well. Trump said he was going to do this this term and nothing. Why is that? If he was on the island, then why not just release the evidence? Exactly. So Elon Musk accuses him of being on the Epstein files. A great way is when you're accused of something, if you didn't do it, don't you want to provide evidence of you not doing it? If someone accused me of doing some sort of dangerous act, or let's say they accused me of vandalism or TPing someone's house, and you're like, nope, I didn't do that. Then you're like, okay, do you have any evidence? Do you have an alibi? Can you tell me where you were? A great way for Donald Trump to clear the fact that he's not in the Epstein files is to release them. Why won't he release them? Because he's in it. And there's so many different pieces of evidence to show that already. I mean, this is a guy who said, if Ivanka wasn't my daughter, perhaps I would be dating her. This is a guy who also said, you know, there's a lot of phony stuff in the Epstein files, so I could release that, but you know, that's less so because you don't it to affect people's lives because there's a lot of phony stuff in there. There's a lot of phony stuff in there, you know. So maybe less so. I'd still release them, but less so. It's like, you don't want it to affect people's lives. I wonder who the people that he is talking about in there is. And then furthermore, again, like, I could go and show you the actual flight logs themselves around how, yeah, Donald Trump was in them next to Jeffrey Epstein. And, like, I can't believe that after all of this, Elon Musk would leave his kid with Trump. All of this is just tangentially to say, and here are the flight logs, by the way. For those people who are like, I've never actually seen them. I know it's hard to see here, but the black underline shows here Donald Trump's name in these flight logs. The red arrows are also just to point out. And it's not just here, but also here. This one's a little bit clearer to see. You can see J.E., Jeffrey Epstein. That's what that stands for. GM stands for Ghislaine Maxwell. So that's another example. You could also see here, again, more Donald Trump. And then you can also see here. Again, I would not be pointing this out. Like, also, it's very likely that Bill Clinton is on this list. It's very likely that Bill Clinton is on this list. Which, cool, great. Awesome. Also, I do want to say really, really quickly to people, my moderators and I are really, really close. I love them. They're awesome. Just a quick little thing. You can disagree with my analysis or my take or my opinion, 100%. Feel free. Just understand that you can't disagree with the objective facts and information. You cannot disagree that pavement is a hard surface. It's an objective fact. Okay? That is an objective fact. You can't disagree with that. You cannot disagree that climate change exists. There is a huge insurmountable amount of evidence showing that it is happening. Okay? You can have a different take or interpretation in regards to approaching that. But like, it's also like you can't debate whether taxes exist. Taxes exist. Now, if you want to decrease or increase taxes on the wealthy, that's a take or an opinion or approach. But like, you can't disagree about certain things. Donald Trump is on the flight logs. That's just a fact. Period. End of story. So understand what you can disagree and not disagree with, because you can't disagree with just objective information. Secondly, I do want to say, my moderators tell me that there are these like routine trolls that come in here every single day. And I just have a genuine question to those people for just a hot second. Genuine question. What is it like having an insatiable, delicious craving to constantly troll me every single day? Because they tell me it's the same people that come in over and over and over on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 accounts. And I'm like, girl, someone's got a crush. What's it like having an unstoppable, insatiable crush on me? Just asking, genuinely. Yeah, anyway. That all being said, going back to people's responses to Elon Musk, I know I get off track. Elon Musk's apology in air quotes, because again, it's really not an apology, because an apology is regretting wrongdoing, which he never said he was doing wrong. He said that he regrets it. You regret the posts, but you don't say that they were incorrect. You don't say that they were wrong. You're saying they went too far, but going too far doesn't mean that you're wrong about it. So going to more people's responses from these posts. Mistakes are forgivable if you're man enough to admit them. This person said, the meme says, "Close your eyes, bro," says Musk. And Trump's like, "Okay, bro. Wait, what is it? What you see, bro? Nothing, bro. That's my world without you, bro." And then he just goes, "Bro." I thought that was kind of funny. You said that Trump was in the Epstein files. Don't try to backtrack now. Did someone threaten you? I think that's very valid that Donald Trump actually just threatened Musk. I'll cut off your government contracts, Elon. I'll cut them off. I'll cut them off. I've cut off other things before. I've cut off little things. But I can cut that off on you. You can't do an Eiffel Tower anymore. You can't do any of that anymore. So I can cut that little thing off, that little appendage if you need. But let me tell you, I'll cut it off. Your contracts will be gone. Poof, gone into the wind. Hold on. It's not the Trump impression without the hands. Hold on. Anyway, let me tell you. Look. Elon, if you try to threaten and expose me that I'm in the Epstein files, I'm gonna have to take away your contracts. I'll have to restart the investigations into SpaceX or Tesla. Tesla, where everything's computer. Everything's computer. I think my Trump impression is super, super fun. Plus, shout out to Erica, which I don't know if Erica ever... She was a TikTok mutual. She ordered and bought me these little hands and shipped them to me. And I'm like, I've just used them ever since. So, Erica, if you're out there, I see you. You're awesome. And so this person responded, some, which ones? You called the commander-in-chief a PEDO. You've not only hurt his reputation, you hurt him and his family. Oh, threw up in my mouth. Friendly fire is the worst. And let me just say, it is big. Everyone's like, oh, Scott, why are you still talking about this? The richest man in the world just accused the most powerful man in the world of being on the Epstein list. And let's also just point out that the richest man in the world bankrolled Donald Trump's campaign personally. Of course, in exchange for a lot of favorable policy in a very, quid pro quo kind of way. But, like, that's big. That's big. No amount of distractions trying to fearmonger about peaceful protesters blowing bubbles and doing dances trying to protest ICE in LA is going to distract from the fact that this bombshell just dropped and America still has not dealt with this. And in fact, you have the media trying to be complicit in it by distracting us with other so-called other distractions, other stories and stuff like that. Of course, the protests are important to also cover. But let me just point out that it's so convenient for these people trying to deflect from this very, very big bombshell that dropped. Literally a backstabbing betrayal by your biggest ally. That's huge. And now he's trying to backtrack. It's like he was threatened. Like, it's not... Like, I have a critique for the media because they're not doing a good job reporting about this. Just looking at the information that's there. There's not enough people just bringing that up. They're always trying to, like, just both sides of it all and be, like, super, super fair. Like, yeah, is Donald Trump a fascist? Yes! Yes, he is. So, anyway. This person said, too late, backtracking when you called for his impeachment, snitched, he's in the Epstein files, and bragged. You put a grab them by the pussy sexual molester felon in the White House. Receipts. Your regret is because you don't want to lose billions in your government contracts, and you know Trump is petty enough to use the full force of the power of the presidential office against you. You're every bit as self-serving and narcissist as him. Okay, here's the genuine question. Does anyone know what's in the big, beautiful bill? Yes. Let me tell you what's in the big, beautiful bill. 3 big things. The big, beautiful bill cuts tremendous amounts of Medicaid for low-income people. It also cuts food stamps. Tremendous amounts of food stamps for low-income people. And it gives tax breaks to the richest of the rich in our country. Whether that's Jeff Bezos, George Soros, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, people like that. Personally, I don't think that we need to cut any more Medicaid. Medicaid is like health insurance for the super, 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 super poor people. Food stamps, which is a great way to combat poor people not having enough money. No amount of people saying no, it doesn't. It's literally what it does. I'm sorry. You can't disagree with that. That's the objective information of what the bill does. Anyway. Going more with some people's responses here. How can anyone take Elon seriously after this? Either he lied about Trump being in the Epstein files, or he is willing to work with an administration filled with PEDOS and sex criminals. And again, Elon Musk probably thought, like, him talking about, like, oh, let me bring this up, mark this post for the future. He probably thought that was like, oh, yeah. I'm wondering if Elon Musk is trying to replace Trump. It's a theory, it's not a fact. Just putting it out. It's like he's trying to dethrone him so he can take over. That's just an idea, because, like, why else would you throw your bestie under the bus? I mean, he can't have been so overly mad about not having big handouts in that big, beautiful bill. Like, And there were a lot of different contracts that the federal government has put in place through the office, like, to benefit Elon Musk personally. But, like, he couldn't have been so mad that he didn't get even more, to the point where he decided to throw this information at Donald Trump, right? That's like, that would be crazy. Well, knowing that Elon Musk kind of functions that way. That all being said, let me know what you think. Also, Elon Musk called President Trump a PEDO and said he should be impeached. Regret is not an apology. Yeah, it's not. But also, it doesn't mean that it's incorrect that he's in there. So, imagine crawling back to someone you claim was on the Epstein files. Did someone threaten to deport you to South Africa? That's also another thing. Elon Musk, to my knowledge, I would have to know what his specific immigration status is, but I don't think he was not born here, so he's not a full citizen. I don't know if he's been granted full citizenship. And we're going to actually be covering more about a big thing with citizenship later on in the live stream. But, like, that's also very valid, that Donald Trump just threatened to deport him back. And so now he's, like, capitulating, being like, oh, Donald, I've always loved you. So it's possible. Notice he didn't deny anything of what he said. He just regrets it. He just regrets it. And this guy says, so now you finally realize that you're the small man here. You're the small man, and it's you who should stay quiet. Seriously, this is sad even for you, Elmo. I don't know why they're calling Elon Elmo. Unless someone doesn't know how to spell Elon. But have a spine and stand behind what you said. You literally talk about how if you want, how if what you say loses you money, then so it be. But in reality, that's not true. Yeah, at one point he said, like, I don't care what I say. If it loses me money, then tough. It's like, you can't be a billionaire who's gone through all the different way that America's, like, capitalist system benefits the wealthy and think that, and say that about yourself. No. Like, that's not possible. And then this, I think this is related maybe to the Babylon Bee, or maybe like parodying off of that. Says, at least you didn't say anything about his golf game. It would have gotten really ugly. People calling him cowards. Do you still want to be friends with a PEDO? What does that say about your character? Yeah. So, the truth will come out. That's what you said. And now you flinched. Too late, Elon. We marked the post. We're still watching, and we won't forget. So, anyway. The big, beautiful bill was rejected 16 to 21. 16 to 21? Hold on. That's only 37 senators? Hold on. That cannot... 16 to just 21? I'd have to double check that. Unless I was in, like, a subcommittee of something. So... Anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. Good old Elon, the world's lamest man. Yeah, 100%. Abstaining is a thing. Yeah, but we have 100 senators. That would be crazy. I may have been misreading that, but anyway. Anyway. So I want to actually divert the conversation here. And of course, someone asked Grok to create that as a picture, which I thought that was kind of just funny. But I want to shift topics here. Actually, before I do, I want to highlight some of these other things. Of course, you have more and more right-wingers being like, why do they only focus on Trump? Bill Clinton was also in them. And I was like, the others were past presidents and need to be held accountable. No one's going to argue that. What makes Trump different is he is our existing president, our existing chaos in chief. Yes, that was subcommittee. Okay, thank you for that context. I was like, for those people who want a quick little fact, we have 100 senators. And so when I saw a vote 16 to 21 for the big, beautiful bill, in my mind, I'm thinking that it was voted upon on the Senate floor. And I'm like, 16 to 21, that's low. That's like, that's a really low turnout. That's like barely That's just under 40%. So anyway, but it was in a subcommittee. So that's why subcommittees don't comprise the whole Senate. So that makes way more sense. Yeah, the House Budget Committee rejected the big beautiful bill on Friday. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah, Clinton needs to be brought to justice too. See how that works? Yeah, why not? It's so funny. There are so many different Republicans out there, these MAGA people that are like, you'll cry when they try to bring Bill Clinton to justice if there's evidence showing he's in the Epstein files. No one's gonna cry about that. Bill Clinton, this is a guy who got some in the Oval Office. Well, I'm sure that many presidents have gotten stuff in the Oval Office. It just was a scandal with him. But like my point being, like, no Democrat is going to cry about that. Or if they are, it would be very hypocritical for them to then have a vilifying or, have a position condemning Republicans for it, but then, like, it's like you think that Democrats are all going to be hypocrites, when in reality, like, they're going to be like, yeah, we have principles, lock them up. Like, anyway, it's just wild to me how there's so many people that are like, you'll cry if Bill Clinton's locked up. I'm like, no, I won't. It doesn't, and many Americans, I truly do hope/believe that many Americans would be like, yeah, hold them all accountable. So, yeah. Y'all, make sure to like this stream. I appreciate every single one of you. I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are awesome. And this person said, in regards to them getting back together, I personally will not believe that you're truly sorry until you and Donald share a passionate kiss on national television. And this person responds, the ratings, they'd be huge. And of course, I put the little graphic up saying that they're getting back together for Pride Month. And then this person said, that they won't believe it until there's full adult connection within the privacy of one's bedroom. I don't want to say that say that too much on live. Let's shift topics here though, because I want to is the bromance back on? Tacos, anyone? I want to shift topics to something else. While researching for this story, I went to go and see if Donald Trump had said anything more about Elon Musk on his Truth Social page. So, all right, are y'all ready to shift topics here? Let's shift topics. I love all of you. All right. So while I was researching for that past story, I was like, what has Donald Trump said on Truth Social today? What has he said on Truth Social today? Well, I was looking originally for things where he may have softened his tone or given credit to Elon Musk. And I saw this. Have you all heard of the Trump card before? Have you heard of the Trump card? Yeah, charge everyone in the file, including Trump. 100%. Thank you, Maya. Have you all heard of the Trump card before? So, while I was researching for that last story, and y'all, make sure to send some likes for this story, because this is wild. This is wild. So, while I was researching, I saw this post, which was posted 34 minutes ago, before I even started doing the live stream. And, of course, I looked at it, and I'm like, what is the Trump card? If you all remember, Donald Trump said that he would be releasing this card, the Trump card. And, of course, it's like, this is an official website of the U.S. government. I'm like, oh, God. TrumpCard.gov. And I said, great, excuse me while I throw up. Enter your information below to be notified the moment access opens. And this is what the Trump card looks like. Basically, the premise is that you pay $5 million. You enter in your information, saying that you're interested in getting one. You'll be charged at a later date, I guess. But you enter in your information, you can get the Trump card. Well, what exactly is the Trump card? The Trump card, it says here that thousands have been calling and asking how they can ride up, to ride a beautiful road and gaining access to the greatest country and market anywhere in the world. It's called the United States of America. The waiting list is now open. To sign up, go to the trumpcard.org. Basically, if you want a little takeaway, the Trump card is literally paying $5 million to secure a tiny little plastic card, and you can just become a citizen. No, like, I am not joking. That's literally what Donald Trump is doing with this Trump card. It's like, if you pay $5 million, get this little Trump card, then you can become a citizen. I'm sorry, but that doesn't do any sort of vetting. That doesn't do any sort of screening. None of that. And, like, all of a sudden, you're not going to let people in if they don't have $5 million? How is that fair? Like, if someone wants to move to this country or become a part of this country, we have a lot of people living in this country that are not citizens already, but they contribute heavily to their communities. They clean our office buildings. They restock our shelves. They build our roads. They take care of our elderly. Like, just because they don't have $5 million means that they're chopped liver to Trump? Like, come on, that's super, super elitist. But of course, it's Trump. That's what he does. And so, while I was looking and doing research for this story, I saw the Trump card. Basically, he says that if you don't have $5 million, you're a loser and basically can't move to the United States. Imagine for just 1 second, actually no, for 10 seconds. Imagine for 10 seconds that Biden put out a policy like this, saying, buy the Biden card. Look, Jack, buy the Biden card. The Biden card. I know, I don't have a good impression of him. Actually, my impression of him would be like, folks, buy the Biden card. Bless his heart. I hope that Joe Biden's sitting on like a beach with like a like some sort of cocktail. Okay, dude is old and needs to enjoy a little time. Well, yeah, and he's been diagnosed with cancer, so I hope that he heals up from that. He needs to enjoy time with his family. Anyway, that all being said, like this, I probably should not have been too. Knowing his cancer diagnosis is probably a little insensitive, but yeah. So I apologize about that. But like, it's like, okay, so if you don't have $5 million, all of a sudden you can't become a citizen. And let me just go through people's Truth Social posts or the comments on Truth Social. Let me also just say that if you ever spend time on Donald Trump's Truth Social, you must be a glutton for punishment, and I am there with you because I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh my God. Literally, I took a screenshot of my face while reading some of these comments I'm about to show you, and this was it. I was like, yeah, that was it. So basically with this, the Trump card, you pay $5 million to become a citizen, full stop. Doesn't seem like there's going to be any vetting, no questions, no citizenship test, nothing. You pay $5 million, you're a citizen. And it's like, okay, there's no other conditions other than being wealthy and just being able to drop $5 million. So you could be a horrible person and pay $5 million and then you're a citizen. Like, that's just, oh God. So let me read these responses. Oh, look, more corruption from the dumbest president in U.S. history. The only thing worse are the idiots that still follow this guy. And this person said, Trump card, are you kidding me? You are not the king of America. You're the worst thing that ever happened to this country. And if you spend time on Truth Social, you know what's really interesting about his platform is every single time that Donald Trump posts, you have an absolute surge of all of these bots, robots, like fake accounts, AI, that go through and just constantly spam picture memes, created things, praising Trump or condemning Democrats. If you go on Truth Social, you'll see that every single post. You know it's not authentic, real people when you see that it's literally just the same accounts over and over, putting up a whole bunch of graphic meme posts. So, like, just throwing it out there. That's what, no, I didn't want to turn off the live chat. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? I wanted to, chat no, it's not chat filter. Where is it? Participant mode. That's what I wanted. Okay. There we go. There we go. So, basically, sorry about that, y'all. I mean, basically, if you go on Donald Trump's Truth Social, you literally see that it's the same accounts over and over and over, spamming the same kinds of praising Trump memes. But they're robots. They're not actual people, because they do this on every single post. Like, unless they are retired or have a lot of money or don't do anything with their day, then how do they have time to create all these memes and then post all of those things? Like, over and over and over. This is where it's like, yeah, he has a mirage of bots that literally go through and spam, like, giving this support like he's so much bigger than he is. So, yeah, just you'll notice that if you go to Donald Trump's Truth Social. But in between all of those robots that are spamming these memes praising him, you see the actual comments of people being like, yeah, are you kidding me? Like, you're the worst thing to have ever happened to our country. And let me give you some more examples. Are you really selling American residency? What an abomination. What happened to give us your poor, your tired, your humbled masses, the symbol of our freedom and democracy? Like, and that's a good question. So you're literally selling citizenship for the low price of $5 million while releasing our military against mostly Americans who are sick of your crap in a 2 square block radius in downtown LA. Great way to eliminate wasteful taxpayer money. It's Thursday. Have you called the Capitol switchboard and your representative and senators to request Felon 47 be removed from office? Call Congress at 202-224-3121. And, like, there are so many more. Release the Epstein files was just another one. You're a moron, an effing moron. You're the one that's bringing criminals into the country, rich criminals. The cartel and other dark, horrible people. God help us that we get through the next 3 years. Do you know how many terrorists are going to buy that card? Yeah, and exactly. Trump's policy now is going to be releasing this card, which means you pay $5 million and you can just become a citizen. If Biden had done that kind of policy, MAGA would be all over him. Trump doesn't, and they're like, now to any people who are a part of MAGA that actually say, no, that's bad, great, I'll give you credit. I'll give you 100% credit. You should, and by the way, for people who might be like having that reaction, great, we're on the same page. Let me just tell you, that is the kind of reaction that we always have to Trump. That he is a grifter. What is he going to use the money for? Himself. He's going to use the money for himself. It's not going to be used for anything else. I mean, oh God. It's like, my dude, you are seriously grifting off of citizenship. This is real, like, Banana Republic stuff. 100%. And again, look, it's the same bot account that puts in the same kinds of memes. This is what MAGA voted for. I thought prices were coming down and the stress on the working class families would be lifted. This is wildly corrupt and not remotely beneficial to middle America. Yeah, because Donald Trump is a scammer. He's a scammer. Imagine if Joe Biden has pulled this scam. Maggots would have never stopped howling about it. Does Trump keep the money for himself? I bet he does. So the only crime other immigrants are being poor. Are guilty of is being poor. I can't read today. So the only other crime other immigrants are guilty of is being poor. Yeah, like, okay, so if you don't have $5 million, you can't become a citizen. Donald Trump, people are like, oh, we should have a businessman running the country. the reason why we should not have a businessman running the country is he always sees certain things for benefit or cost. Oh, people's rights are a cost to me getting whatever benefit I have. Like, the way that businessmen always run is they're looking at the bottom line. They're looking at the bottom line. But for Donald Trump, the bottom line is not financing our country. It's not protecting our country. It's serving himself. That's what it's always been. How else do you think he operated? He bankrupted a casino. It was all about him and his grandeur. You know, he bankrupted, his casino was called the Taj Mahal. He bankrupted it. People, like, it's crazy. So if you're white and rich, feel free to come to the good old USA. If you're trying to escape violence and poverty in your country but are poor, Trump doesn't want you here. Yeah, that's what it really turns into. Aren't you Trump supporters tired of Trump financially grifting off of you? Seriously, y'all, this is stupid. This is stupid. Now, this person said, I'm not crazy about this idea. Why can a person buy American citizenship? Why can they be dual citizens? What makes them a better person to be here just because they are wealthy? So it sounds like that person is like maybe a MAGA person. Which I'm like, great. Yeah, you're seeing this for the craziness that it is. And for anyone who's a part of that, you denounce this, great, I'll give you credit. It seems unfair to the middle class or lower class of people who will work, pay taxes, and cause no trouble, and there are many bad people with lots of money, so I'm skeptical about this one, President. Yeah, you should be. Because Donald Trump is a confidence man. He's a scam artist. It's what he does. He puts all of this merchandise out there. He puts out the cards. He puts out the Bibles. He puts out the sneakers. He puts all of this out there. And y'all will buy it up. You'll lap it up like a dog with a bowl of water. That's what you do. That's what MAGA always has done. They'll just lap it all up. Lap it all up. You buy 47 shirts, 53 yard signs. You'll buy 12 bumper stickers. Politicians are not God. You do not praise them. You do not worship them. You hold them accountable. Politicians, you hold them accountable. But just like, for anyone who's like, oh yeah, I don't know if I agree with this one. This is literally a perfect example of who Donald Trump is and what he does. This person said, no, I don't like the idea of only rich people being able to afford to immigrate. I think it would defeat the whole purpose. Guess what? His whole purpose is just to benefit him. In Trump's universe, money can buy you anything, including pardons, governmental contracts, and highly classified information. But you aren't just a president for the rich, right? Incorrect. No, he is just a president for the rich. That's what he's always been. So, now I want to pivot here just a little bit. And I'm going to ask in the chat here, why do you think people like Elon Musk were attracted to Trump in the first place? Why do you think that these two found each other? Why do you think that they were like inseparable? Did Elon Musk just want a lot of stuff? Did Elon Musk just bankroll Donald Trump's campaign because he wanted to get stuff from him? Sure, it's possible. But what makes someone like Trump so intrigued by Elon Musk? Elon Musk is someone that was a clean energy tech entrepreneur, or he was an entrepreneur, had Tesla, SpaceX, all of that. You know how Donald Trump was constantly going against the woke Green New Deal liberals? Well, this is a guy who owned an electric vehicle company. Now, electric vehicles are not 100% clean. No one is going to dispute that. I've actually talked with people about that. I have a degree in sustainable development. My point is here, overall question, why do you think these two were attracted to each other? Because they're both con men. They both pull the same kind of scams. They're confidence men. They're like, okay, I know Trump is, but how is Elon Musk? Well, let me just say, Doge. His definition of Doge was literally going through and getting rid of investigations opened up by our federal government into his own companies through the FAA or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. So, and I can talk about that later on, but let me give you a lesser known example of how Elon Musk is cut from the same cloth as Donald Trump. I'll give you an example. Now, if you have watched my lives for a while, you may have heard me talk about Vaporware. Does anyone know what Vaporware is? Does anyone know what Vaporware is? It's old money teaming up with new money. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, Conmen, 100%. 100%. They knew they could use each other. I'm trying to go through and read some of your comments here. I love all of you. Do you all know what Vaporware is? Vaporware. Vaporware. We're going to talk about that in a second. But also, Elon Musk is cut from the same cloth as Donald Trump because he does the exact same kind of scams as Trump. So here's an example. This is just a smaller example, and then I'll give you another one. Tesla gamed the system. Canadian auto dealers stiffed millions when U.S. giant rushed to claim electric vehicle rebates. This happened back in January, but Tesla had a run on the bank, said Canadian Automobile Dealers Association Hugh Williams, describing how the U.S. giant rushed to claim 8,653 electric vehicle sales in the final 72 hours of the federal electric vehicle rebate. So Tesla gamed the system in order to steal tens of millions of dollars in Canadian incentives on the final day of eligibility. Elon Musk is the same type of scam artist crook that Donald Trump is. This is a perfect example. So Canada has this electric vehicle rebate program. You're like, well, I don't know what a rebate program is. Basically, you get a discount, a government-endorsed discount or reduction in the price if you go and buy an electric vehicle. The same way that if you get solar panels on your house, in the Inflation Reduction Act, there were rebates. A rebate basically means that you get like a certain discount of like 25% or something like that off the cost. The government will pitch in and help you pay for your solar panels. That's what like the rebates do. They did that for electric vehicles. These are incentives financially to get us to transition over to clean energy easier without it bankrupting their own citizens. Those programs are pretty good. So instead of just passing a bill saying that everyone must use something, it's kind of like giving them the tools saying, you must use this shovel, but here you go. Let me compensate you. If you buy the shovel, I'll give you 50% of the money for the shovel. So that's how rebates work. It's basically the government saying, hey, here is some money, or here's a discount, here's a coupon, however people say it, in order to get it. That's what rebates are. Canada had rebates, electric vehicle rebates, and Tesla decided to just go through and claim a whole bunch of sales on Tesla cars in order to get an insurmountable amount of rebates. Because the rebate is paid to Tesla, Tesla basically filed a whole bunch of scam claims that they sold all these cars that they didn't actually sell. So basically, this rebate program provides money to the electric vehicle automakers so that they could help people afford electric vehicles. Well, they claimed a whole bunch of sales, got the money from the Canadian government, and then just walked out the other side of the door. So the Minister of Transport Canada is investigating Tesla after a mountain of suspicious rebate requests were filed in the final 3 days of Canada's IZEV government incentive program. As the program wound to a close last month, Tesla filed an incredible 8,600 sales in 3 days. Now, let me put that in context. In spite of the severe backlash within Canada against Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his participation in the hostile U.S. Trump administration, the electric car retailer claims it sold more cars in Canada in the final 3 days of the $5,000 incentive program than it had in the entirety of the first quarter in 2024. So they're saying that they sold 8,600 cars in 3 days. Meanwhile, they sold less than that in the first quarter of 2024. So it claims to have shifted 8,653 units in a single weekend, with over 4,000 units delivered by a single location in Quebec City. Tell me, you know that car dealership down the road from you? Do you think that they can buy, move, sell, and deliver 4,000 cars in one day? You'd be like, that's crazy. Except that's what Elon Musk is saying that Tesla did. So let me go a little bit further here. You're like, how is that possible? It's not. It's fraud. Transport Canada is looking into Tesla after it made a suspicious number of rebate requests on the last days of the Canadian EV incentive program. A single dealership in Canada would have had to deliver about 4,000 vehicles in a single weekend, which is physically impossible. Physically impossible. So they announced that the Canadian government announced in January that it was running out of money for its $5,000 incentive program for the purchase of electric vehicles. It was supposed to end in March, but in mid-January, the government started to warn consumers that and dealers that the money was running faster than planned, and they would need it and it would probably need to end by the end of January. This was this past January. Unsurprisingly, it created a rush for people to deliver by the end of the month. Tesla is the most popular electric vehicle brand in Canada, so it's not surprising that it benefited the most from the temporary surge in demand. However, now that the numbers are coming in, some are becoming suspicious of some of the numbers that Tesla is claiming. And according to a report from the Toronto Star, 4 Tesla locations claimed to have sold 8,653 electric vehicles in the last 3 days of the program. So they filed for $43.1 million in rebates, which was more than half of the remaining $71.8 million in remaining funds. Tesla's location in Quebec City alone filed more than 2,500 requests in a single day and over 4,000 over the weekend. Considering the location can only hold a few hundred cars, and that the company needs to have delivered the vehicle in order to file the rebate, people are suspicious that Tesla could have actually delivered the cars when it said it did. So it's like they're claiming to have filed and they're claiming to have sold all these cars, but they physically wouldn't be able to do that. The math isn't adding up. So this is a pinnacle example of a scam artist, of a hustler, of a confidence man. That is what that's what drives Elon Musk and Donald Trump together. They're the same type of corrupt crook. They benefit from the same types of scam artists. That's what they do. So no wonder you have them being in some sort of weird tangential relationship. It didn't matter that Donald Trump has this weird hatred or obsession with with I guess dirty energy or fossil fuel energy. It's like game recognizes game. So anyway, the suspicious surge in filings from Tesla has resulted in other dealers being stuck without the rebates. Following that report, Transport Canada is reportedly looking into the situation. And this was back in January of this year. This is back in January of this year. Terry Budd, who owns 8 dealerships in Ontario, also doesn't believe Tesla could have delivered that many vehicles. There's no way they delivered or sold that many cars in a weekend. They cleared everyone else out. So when Tesla saw that, oh, the rebate's going to end, why don't we just claim all of these fake sales? so that we can get all the money from the rebate program. So Donald Trump and Michelle in here says neither did Trump's floor space. Exactly. If you all remember, Donald Trump forged his business documents to claim that his apartment was bigger than it actually was. And he did that to overinflate his assets. But then as soon as it came to pay taxes, oh, it was so much smaller than it was. So you're like overinflating your value by doing that. So that's fraud. That's business fraud. And of course, Donald Trump did that. But let me give you another example of how Donald Trump and Elon Musk, they're cut from the same cloth. We know a lot about Donald Trump's corruption. Again, for those people who might not have heard about this, do you all know what the term vaporware is? Also, if you're new here and you're enjoying the stream, please show me, please let me know. Sometimes it's easy for me to think that only the trolling comments are the people who actually are in here. So if you are someone who is enjoying the thorough reporting, then please say hello in the chat. Please let me know that you are here. Send some likes or say, hey, I just stumbled across you. I like your vibe. I appreciate you. Something that shows me that it's not just trolls in here. So I appreciate every single one of you. Do you all know what the term vaporware is? Vaporware is basically something, it's a promise. It's a promise. Love your reporting. Oh, thank you. Vaporware is a promise. Basically, you're saying that, hey, pay this money up front, and when this comes to fruition, you will get it. So let me introduce the Tesla Roadster. The Tesla Roadster is an electric vehicle car that was also a racing vehicle. Let me point out, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Hello! I see everyone jumping in here saying hello. Musk is great at vaporware. Yeah, it's essentially conning. I don't know how vaporware is actually even legal, but we'll get to that in a second. So let me introduce the Tesla Roadster for those people who have not heard of it. The Tesla Roadster was this car that back in 2017, Elon Musk was like, we're going to release this electric vehicle sports car, the Tesla Roadster. This is what it looked like. Let me tell you, this was kind of like a sham mutant version of what the prototype was what it's supposed to look like. Basically, in order to promise the speeds, in order to promise the strength at which this electric vehicle can go, the battery would need to be a specific big size in order to meet the speeds of being a sports car and being an electric vehicle. So much so that the battery for the vehicle would have had to have been bigger than the actual car itself to promise the miles per hour speed that it actually was promising. So, going back, the Tesla Roadster was basically this promise. It was basically saying, hey, if you put down $250,000, when we develop this car, we will deliver it to you. So, the process is called vaporware. Let me highlight it here. Ford officials say the Tesla Roadster is hard to catch because it doesn't exist. The Tesla semi-launch event was held on November 16th of 2017, exactly 6 years ago last week. This was several months ago, so we're kind of, I'm going to say that it's like 6.5 years ago now. At the end of that launch event, November of 2017, how many years will it have been? How many years will it have been coming up this November of 2025? It will be 8 years? It will be close to 8 years. Anyway, so the Tesla event back in 2017, it will be 8 years. Yeah, wow. It's crazy. Basically, they launched the sports car at the end of around the end of 2017. And Elon Musk had a signature one more thing that was unveiling the incredible second generation Tesla Roadster. Back then, the car was promised to be delivered in 2020, which obviously didn't happen, but it was compelling. The order books for the car were opened immediately after the event, and people were asked to wire transfer $50,000 to secure their place in line for the car, or pay the full $250,000 for one of the 1,000 Founders Edition models. From quarter one of 2017 through quarter one of 2018, Tesla was losing $7,430 per minute. The company just figuring out how to get Model 3 in production up and running, and that cost a whole lot of money. Elon Musk admitted that while the company was less than a month from bankruptcy at the time, if you're a company in dire straits and cash is essential to your survival, you'll do anything to get your hands on some, right? Would you make up specs about some new products and pass a hat around the room to get deposits for your wildly unrealistic promises? And then this is when they say Tesla is a promise company. It makes promises to its customers, various governments, and other businesses. Those promises require upfront payment, and whether they come to fruition or not, the company keeps the money while continually blowing through the deadlines. This is what essentially is the Tesla Roadster. Let me tell you something. The Tesla Roadster has never been produced or delivered. Yet back in 2017, people paid $50,000. They paid $50,000 to buy this car. Or they even paid $250,000 to secure their spot in line for a Founders Edition model or whatever. And it still has not been produced or delivered today. This is what Vaporware is. Vaporware is software hardware that was advertised, but it wasn't yet available to buy because it's only a concept or because it's still being written or designed. Vaporware often is computer software hardware. It's announced to the general public, but it's never actually manufactured. Or even it can be canceled. And it could be something like vehicles. Vaporware is what happens when the worst aspects of the tech world's obsession with innovation and breathless marketing collide. Hype and exaggeration are always a part of selling tech. But Vaporware is a step beyond. It refers to tech products that are announced but never actually arrive. So this is why Donald Trump and Elon Musk go so well together. They're both con men. They're both scam artists, confidence men. They find a way to make a quick buck. Tesla being in debt at that time, it was like, well, what's a way for us to make a quick cash grab? Let's promise this really, really incredibly over-the-top, amazing electric vehicle sports car and have these people pay $50,000 down to secure one of these when they are built. So people paid $50,000 and still haven't gotten their Tesla Roadster, even though it was promised that they would get it around 2020 at the latest. Well, 2025 has come around and you don't even hear a peep about it. You don't hear an update about it because it's never going to be in production. Think about it like this. Let's say that I passed a hat around. Let's pretend there's 223 of you in here. Let's pretend that we were in a big room together and I passed around a hat and I said, if you pay me $20, I will give you, I will bake you a whole big slew of artisan, gooey, chocolate chunk, custom, hand-baked cookies. Now, if I make it sound like these are going to be the best cookies in the world, some people might be like, yeah, here's $20. But if there's no contract signed, if it's just a promise where you in good faith say, okay, you say you're going to make this for me, great, I expect that you'll make it for me. That's basically what Vaporware is. You're like, well, how is this legal? How is this legal? The idea of why Vaporware is legal is, they're like, oh, well, it's legal because, you know, when tech, you never know when things are actually going to be produced. might take more time to make it come to fruition. Yeah, but like it's just scam. It welcomes the world for scams. Why promote when you know that there will be protests? Or why promote something if you don't have it available? The idea is that Vaporware, you promote something that isn't made yet in order to increase its hype. But like, so it's just, it's, if/when I run for Congress, this is something I'm going to tackle. I'm like, Vaporware is a scam. It preys on people. It is a scam. Pure and simple. I wanted, maybe I should try and contact like some of the progressive lawmakers' offices and be like, hey, I doubt it's going to pass, but at least we can have a bill drafted. Can we just ban Vaporware? It is a scam. But this is what makes Donald Trump and Elon Musk cut from the same cloth. Donald Trump recently has done this with so many different things. You know how Donald Trump sells every single thing he can? He sells NFT trading cards. He sells shoes. He sells Bibles. Well, I was actually just researching shortly before. There were many people who were like, yeah, I bought a pair of shoes and they haven't even gone into production yet. They haven't even gone into production yet. I've heard people that still haven't had their shoes delivered. Who knows? They might not ever have it delivered. The idea behind these things is if you're basically with clasped hands, puffy eyes, being like, if you give me this money, I will make it for you. But if there's no legal contract saying that you have to oblige by that deal and thereby can be sued if you do not deliver, then you're just taking them at their word for it. This is what makes people like Donald Trump and Elon Musk so notorious, is that they are scammers. This is what they do. This is what they do. And call me crazy, but it doesn't matter what product it is or who it is, what their political affiliation is, what their part is, what their race is, sexual orientation. This kind of stuff is the classic corruption. And so we need to get rid of it. We need to stop it. The fact that there are loopholes in the law for things like Vaporware to exist only welcome in bad actors like Donald Trump to infiltrate our government, while also distracting us with the most crazy things violating the Constitution. My whole point with all of this is that they're cut from the same cloth. It's what they do. So the big takeaway from the live stream here is, well, they were fighting, but they got back together. Why? Because if they fight, it leads in mutual destruction and devastation. So like, yeah, maybe we'll put it aside. Let me just also unequivocally say, Donald Trump is a sexual predator. He is in the Epstein files, 100%. He also said, when he was asked, like, would you release the Epstein files? He said, yeah, I would, but maybe less so, because there's a lot of phony stuff in there. And you don't want it to affect people's lives. I wonder who the people that he's referring to is. This is also the same guy who says about his daughter that if it wasn't his daughter, perhaps he'd be dating her. This is also the same guy who so many women have come forward saying, hey, this guy has done this awful thing to me. Now, of course, you'll say, oh, well, what about Biden? Yeah, he's had his fair share of women coming forward as well. I'm not going to deny that. Like Joe Biden, it's known that he perhaps has sniffed women's hair. That's weird. That's creepy. Okay, that's not cool. Though also, if you're angry about those things with Biden, which there are very valid critiques, you can't just ignore that your person does it too, but does it so much more. What it does is it welcomes you up into hypocrisy, which I guess many MAGA cult members have made their brand, thinking that as soon as they embrace, like, the liberals are all, they're all triggered. It's like, we're just pointing out your hypocrisy. The fact that you don't live by whatever things that you claim that you care about. So, just pointing all of that out there, it's pretty clear that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files as well. He's in the flight logs. He has said these things about women before. Grab them by the P word. So, I know a lot of these MAGA cult members don't want to admit that they put their betting on this horse that ends up being an absolute sham. But look, if you care about the issues, you will acknowledge that. You'll acknowledge it. And Elon Musk is not out of the woods either, because him saying, oh, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files, now capitulating, saying, ha ha ha, I regret some of my posts. So you're admitting to saying that saying that you regret it, so that you're willing to be friends with someone like Donald Trump again, even though it seems like you have evidence saying that he is a danger to kids, and you only want to be friends with him because he might try and open up investigations into your companies out of spite because you violate the law, but like he's doing it because he doesn't like you after you exposed him for corruption. It just shows how messed up our government is. And this is why people are so fed up with politics right now. This is why people like me are motivated to run for Congress. Now, that is maybe a little bit more of a long shot. I will just say that. I'm not quite sure when I want to do that. I have to get to work here soon. I'm figuring everything out. You know, I'm very young. I'm 26. I would be one of the youngest members of Congress if I were to run. We have a member of Congress, Maxwell Frost, that I believe is 26, maybe 27. I would be a super, super young member of Congress. And that would be really awesome. I just feel like I need to be more financially grounded, and also I need to beef up my name recognition and build out my platform in order for me to officially do that. And some of the things that I would want to do is stuff like ban vaporware or ban insider trading. Also, do what I can to stop the dehumanization of undocumented people and fast track a thorough way for citizenship that maintains safety, but then also maintains... There's so many people who are just victimized and dehumanized just because they're not citizens. Meanwhile, they pave your roads, they stock your grocery shelves, they take care of our elderly in nursing homes. Sure, you might have some of them that are dangerous people. Great, okay, that's different. Vet them. They don't need to be citizens, but just because they're Hispanic doesn't mean that they're dangerous. That's just racist. And no amount of fear-mongering about the fact that you don't have a verified check saying that you're a citizen doesn't mean that you're not doesn't mean that you are somehow a dangerous person. And the Republicans use immigration as always a rallying cry just to distract you from the fact that they're basically gutting your food stamps, cutting your Medicaid, and also giving tax cuts to the wealthy. So they use your racism as a distraction for their own gain. So I'm just exhausted seeing this play out over and over and over. And that's why I would want to run for office. Anyway, I have to get to work, y'all. I love each and every single one of you. So, will you help the people of Palestine? Oh, absolutely. That was another thing. When, y'all, I really cannot stand people who, after all of this time, continue to pretend like Hamas and Palestinians are the same. They're not. They're not. If you were to take that same logic, it's like saying that all Americans are Trumpers. That's not true. All Palestinians are not Hamas. You have many innocent Palestinian people who've just been murdered and unalived. It's so sad to see a genocide like that happening. So of course I'd be speaking out against it. I'd be calling out all the people taking money from places like AIPAC, Republican and Democrat. By the way, for people, it's when Democrats start acting like Republicans that they lose. They lose their base, they lose their respect, and then they will eventually lose their elections. And then the Democratic establishment misdiagnoses it, and they're like, oh, we need to be more moderate. Maybe not talk about trans people. It's like, no! Be a good person, financially stop being corrupt, and maybe you'll actually gain the trust back of people. But a lot of the Democratic establishment can't do that, because then it shows, oh crap, we can't just be the lesser of two evils. We actually have to have a revolutionary platform based on what FDR traditionally did. And they don't want to do that. The Democratic establishment's way closer to Republicans than many people want to believe. They're just Republicans that want to be socially conscious. Many of them. So Yeah, this is why Bernie Sanders was so popular. And so, anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. I need to get to work. Shout out to my amazing moderators in here. So, anyway, I love all of you so much. If you want to support me and my work, if you want to support my channel, then please make sure to smash that subscribe button, send some likes, check out my content. Y'all are all incredible. I appreciate every single one of you. Good luck in Congress. Not there yet, but not there yet, but I love all of you so much. Even if you hate me, okay? If you're someone who's always trying to constantly berate me or try and call me gay, but spell it G-H-E-Y. Sorry, it's not a weird plant-based new protein powder. But like, if you're one of those people, I don't hate you. I just think it's sad that you're obsessed with me. Actually, it's not sad at all. It's kind of endearing. But like, anyway, I appreciate every single one of you. Y'all are all awesome. I have to go. I have to go to work because your boy's working class. So shout out to my moderators in here. Kantisa, love you so much. MF Hendo, C-Bar, y'all are awesome. My moderators in here, Ellie, Akicha, you're awesome. Kate, Cherie, Jenny, y'all are incredible. Who am I missing? Ellie, Akicha, Ilisa, Ilisa, I love you. Ellie, Akicha, Ilisa, Ellie, Akicha, Ilisa, Joanna Tech. I think I have like a good staple, like 7 moderators. Y'all are incredible. All of you. Kate, Cherie, Jenny. I couldn't do it without you all. Anyway, I have to skedaddle, but just remember, go and check out my latest content, but just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. And definitely check out the Discord. Don't let anyone or anything ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much. Bye!